The human brain. It weighs only 1.4 kilograms, yet it holds every memory we cherish, every dream we pursue, and every heartbeat we take for granted. But what happens when this most vital organ begins to fail? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ayu Puspitasari from Kemenkes Poltekkes Surabaya. Today, I stand here to discuss a challenge that transcends borders and disciplines, the brain health. We are here to explore how innovation, prevention, and care, combined with interdisciplinary approaches, can transform the futures of global brain health. Ladies and gentlemen, across the globe, brain disorders are silently rising. Stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, depression, anxiety. These don't just affect individuals, they shape families, communities, and even economies. But the good news, we are not powerless. Through innovation, prevention, care, and by working across disciplines, we can build a healthier future for the brain, the very organ that defines us as human. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays, all around the world, stroke remains a leading cause of death and disability. Every 3 seconds, someone suffers a stroke, and delays in care cost millions of brain cells per minute. Dementia, including Alzheimer's, affects over 55 million people globally, and this number is expected to triple by 2050. Mental health issues like depression and anxiety are now among the top contributors to global disability. 1 in 4 people will experience a mental or neurological disorder in their lifetime. Yet, in many countries, access to diagnosis and treatment is still very limited. Basic access to care is still out of reach, while stigma and misinformation make the problem even worse. Stigma keeps people suffering in silence, ashamed to seek for help. This is why brain health is not just a medical issue, it is a global public health priority. Ladies and gentlemen, so what can we do? First of all, innovation. Innovation gives us hope. Innovation is changing how we detect and treat brain disorders. For examples, AI technologies can now analyze speech and handwriting patterns to detect early signs of Alzheimer's and dementia even before the symptoms appear. Wearable devices help patients monitoring seizures and managing epilepsy. Mobile stroke units equipped with CT scanners and telemedicine links are bringing hospital-level care directly to patients, cutting treatment times and saving millions of neurons. These are not just gadgets. They are life-saving tools built with collaboration among engineers, clinicians, and data scientists. But we also must remember, innovation is not just about technology. It's also about rethinking system, integrating mental health services into primary care, training community health workers to recognize early symptoms, and ensuring innovation reaches even rural and low-income areas. Innovation means collaboration, bringing together doctors, nurses, psychologists, educators, medical laboratory technologists, nutritionists, engineers, and policymakers. Because protecting the brain is too big a job for one discipline alone. True innovation is inclusive innovation. The second one is prevention. Ladies and gentlemen, prevention remains to be our most powerful weapon. Imagine this. Up to 80% of strokes could be prevented simply by controlling blood pressure, quitting smoking, and moving our bodies each day. 40% of dementia cases could be delayed or avoided if we address risk factors like diabetes, obesity, and loneliness. Even Alzheimer's, though complex, is now linked to lifestyle choices, what we eat, how we sleep, and how we stay mentally active. Research shows that even if you carry a genetic risk for stroke, improving your diet, controlling blood pressures, staying active, sleeping well, and managing stress can cut your risk by nearly 30%. These are powerful shields for your brain. Modern stroke prevention now looks beyond medicine. It includes comprehensive screening tailored for different genders, environments, and behaviors. But prevention should not be just at the clinic. It should be also in school, communities, urban planning, and policy making. Teachers like us can promote cognitive stimulation in schools. Families learn to spot the early sign of stroke. Workplace support mental health, not stigmatize it. Urban planners can design parks to reduce stress, and governments can reduce air pollution, which harms children's brain development. Prevention requires collaboration across disciplines and generation. Ladies and gentlemen, brain health is really everyone's business. The third one is care. When prevention fails, care becomes critical. When stroke strikes, even the best prevention cannot undo damage. For stroke patients, care means fast action to minimize brain damage and comprehensive rehabilitation to regain mobility and speech. For dementia and Alzheimer's patients, care is not only medical, it is emotional. It involves memory clinics offering holistic services, sensory therapies like music and light to calm anxiety and trigger positive emotions. Also, supporting caregivers who are often family members sacrificing their own health to provide care. Care must be time right, smart, supportive, comprehensive rehab, and human centered. But then again, care is more than just hospital beds and medicine. It also means treating every patient with dignity, compassion, and respect. Ladies and gentlemen, caring for the brain is not just about treating disease. It is also about restoring dignity, empowering patients, and supporting families. To build such a system, we need innovation, compassion, and collaboration across disciplines. From neurologists to nutritionists, from policymakers to community health workers, from engineers to laboratory technologists. Ladies and gentlemen, we need doctors, nurses, laboratory technologists, engineers, educators, clinicians, and policymakers to work as one. We need to be an active agent of change. Ladies and gentlemen, brain health is not a luxury for the privileged. It is a fundamental right for all. To protect it, we must innovate boldly. We must prevent wisely, and we must care deeply together. Because when we save the brain, we save memories, we save relationships, we save lives. The future of brain health is not a dream, it is a responsibility. It calls for innovation guided by ethics. It calls for prevention empowered by education and equity. It calls for care that is compassionate, integrated, and inclusive. Together, we can be part of a global movement to improve brain health for the future. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.